Yeah. So, hello everyone. We are back again with a topic called "Shape Your Feet." The words were selected carefully just to confuse you a little bit. We are not going to talk about the cosmetic improvements of your feet. Okay. So, at least to the ladies who are sitting right there, it is just about how do we kind of improve the foot for the betterment of health. So that's what the aim of today's topic was. So when we talk about feet, they are actually structurally very similar to how the hands are. So like this. Okay, so we'll have like instead of 5 fingers, you'll have 5 toes. We'll have metatarsals, which are like long bones like that. They're called metatarsals. Okay, and then there are cluster of few bones here. In hands, they are called carpals, and in the feet, they're called tarsals. So we have like toes, then the toes, which is phalanges, then metatarsals, then tarsals. Okay, and then we have like bigger bones on top. That's how hand and feet both are almost symmetrical. But in functioning, they become little different because a hand is more kind of mobile. It's pretty active because throughout the day you use your hands a lot. Whereas in case of feet, the feet are little stiffer compared to hands because of the nature of their work. They have to actually bear a lot of load. Our body weight comes on them. So normally bones and ligaments are also a lot more stronger in the feet. Now, why I'm actually giving you a hand and feet relations is I'm just trying to say that, hand we keep on using. So it remains always active and like that. But what's happening to our feet? Do we take care of our feet well? No, we don't. Okay, it's almost like 8-9 hours the feet are always packed up in shoes. They are like coffins for your feet, all right, because you're totally packed, you don't move much around there, and that's where the problem starts. So I'll just talk about a little bit of what the foot anatomy says. So very simple and amazing things you'll hear. Our foot has almost like 52 bones in total, right and left together. 52 bones just in the feet. Okay, we have 107 ligaments to hold those bones together, and then they form joints there, and there are 32 muscles to kind of move around and control. So this is how the foot anatomy is distributed in our the structure there. Then we have arches. So when you see the foot from the front like that, and actually you can see the image behind me as well. So when you see a foot like that, what's happening is there is an inner side and there is an outer side. The outer side is actually, so there are like two arches like that, and there is a transverse arch like this also to kind of hold the foot together. The inner arch is anatomically very important, or let's say medically or clinically very important, because this arch is almost like a dome shape, little dome like that. So that's called the medial arch of the foot. Normally what we are going to talk majorly about today is this arch. In most of the people get flatter like that, and that's where the problem starts. So what is the function of these arches? They normally, this dome shape is given because we want to add little springiness to the foot, because whenever you have to walk, run, or climb up and down, the shock needs to be absorbed, and that's why we have the design like that. Second thing is what happens with these the foot is when you have to actually walk, do little mountain climbing and trekking and all those crazy things. So when we are actually on the mountains, the foot has to adjust to all those structure of the rocks and other stuff. So that's how the foot becomes really important, and it has to be like an active thing in us. So that these are the things which our foot arches does and their function. So when these dome shaped arches become flat, it is called flat feet. Everyone says it's a disease. I don't say it's a disease. I say if there is a flat feet, I say it's a lazy foot. So it's actually a lazy foot, nothing more than that. But we find flat feet in at least 30% of population. I think they are more than that because with age also we gradually, slowly acquire flat feet back black again. So if there is a small kid in your house and you find that the feet are flat, don't actually bother about it, because we are born flat feet, right? We are born flat feet, but gradually we develop the arches back again. So slowly, the flat feet becomes a normal healthy foot. Can take you up to like 5 years or so, and in certain people it can take almost up to 10 years. So if you have a kid who is below 5 years or below 10 years, and if you find their feet are flat and all that, today's session will be very helpful because we can redevelop those arches. And as I said, 95% of flat feet population can actually regain their arches if you do the right things with it. So that's what it is about. So as I said, infants and old age people, they both can have flat feet because of various reasons. Okay. Now, flat feet can also come when you overuse with your shoes. You know, when the children are growing, and what we need is we always need their foot to be very hygienic. Don't walk bare feet, don't go out bare feet, and all those things we keep on talking about. But when the children are growing, and if you're not actually making them used to walk around or play around with bare feet, the arches actually are not developing. So if you're actually too much protecting your child with their foot health and hygiene, we're actually not developing those feet. So I'm not saying, at least in today's world, I'm not saying that we should compromise with the foot health, especially when these virus things are on and all that. But at least indoor, when this lockdown is happening, can you guys be at least bare feet when you're locked in the house? Can you do some activities which can be bare feet? Just today itself, one patient was asking me that he's doing little high impact sports within the house, and he's getting a lot of foot pain and all that. Actually, he picked up this advice from me that, we should be doing some activities bare feet. But I would say when we're doing high impact activities like jumping and landing stuffs, it's been like so many years you're not used to doing activities bare feet. So your foot is not so hard enough to kind of absorb those impacts. So I would say for high impact jumping, landing stuffs, always wear your shoes even if you're indoor. But rest of the activities, try to spend majority of your time bare feet. That is going to be really helpful. Now, when the arch becomes flat, what's happening is it's not just the arch. There is a lot of events happening around the foot. So the toes, or behind the toes, there are like metatarsals and tarsals. They actually start directing outwards like this. The bones around the ankle joint also kind of moves a little bit like that and little down like that as well. Okay, so all this is happening as a structure, but because the muscles are not so active enough, that's the reason why all these things are happening. Now, when I'm particularly mentioning how the design of the foot changes with flat arches, I'm saying some people develop overpronation. Pronation means when you walk, the foot has to kind of roll in a little bit so that it can adjust to the changing length of your leg while walking, because the leg needs to get a little shorter, a little longer. So that's how these pronation also adds in improving or decreasing the length of your foot. But for certain people, when the muscles become weaker, the actually foot, the rolling in of your foot starts happening a lot more. Now, when you're walking, if this is the movement which is happening around your feet, imagine if this is the right and this is the left, and this is happening when you're just walking. Now, if you start running, it starts happening a lot more. I'm exaggerating right now, but this is what overpronation means. Abnormally, the foot starts rotating inwards. Now, why is it relevant is because when it's abnormally rotating inwards, the foot is not independent. It's actually connected to your leg bone, and then the thigh bone, and then your pelvis, and then your back. So what this overpronation is doing is it's actually becoming a cause for getting bunions in the feet. Bunion simply means great toe, which is kind of getting a projection like that out. That's what the bunion is. You get a lot of foot pain. You can get heel pain, which is also called plantar fasciitis. So that also can happen because of these overpronation issues there. Okay. You can get a knee pain. You can get a back pain. Now, when you are having a lot of overpronations like that, the pelvis doesn't remain stable. And when the pelvis is not stable, it starts impacting your lower back as well. So overpronation does have a role when it comes to your back pain as well. Now, in certain researches, they have actually shown how when the foot changes your knee alignment, the knee alignment changes your pelvic alignment and spine, it actually starts impacting your neck and head as well. There were some studies which were actually trying to prove that sometimes bad feet can give you headaches. Okay, so I don't know, I mean, evidence-wise, I haven't gone into the detail of the study, but yes, many times it has happened that your podiatrist tries to correct your feet and suddenly your neck pain and headache is gone. So that's how amazing our feet are. We need to be taking care of their health as well. So as I said, poor foot health includes your bunion problems, your foot and heel pain, knee pain, back pain, neck pain, headache. So it's very vast. Now, what are healthy foot habits? That's very relevant. Healthy foot habits are when you have good physical activities going around. In the lockdown, majority of you guys will be actually cut down on activities, I would still say we keep on talking about, and the whole world is talking about, what all things can be done still when you're actually logged in your houses and all that. So physical activities needs to be high. It actually helps improving your foot health. Good shoes help. It's not easy to actually find a good shoe. We have to kind of do a lot of search and matching your feet to your shoes and all that. I would just advise always, when you select your shoes, don't go by the design, go by the feel. Maybe for 10 minutes you should wear them, walk around, search for other shoes in the meantime. And if your foot says this is the right shoe, this is the right shoe. Doesn't matter how it looks, what its color is and all that. Okay. Now you have to improve your bare feet time as well. As I was earlier also saying, within the house, start walking bare feet. It really helps in developing those arches and all that. Keep walking around, and that's how we improve the foot health. Now, strength is also important. So when you actually strength train your legs and combine your strength training of your legs with the core simply, previous videos we have talked a lot about, back strength, core strength and all that. So leg strength combined with core strength can really help in improving your back and the foot health. So that's how the foot health is. We are going to now switch to Jagmohan, who's going to talk about very interesting exercises which can help us in kind of covering how to improve the arch support and foot health and all those things.
Hello everyone. So today we're going to discuss about the exercises for the flat feet. So it will be a mix of strengthening exercise and mobility exercise. So the first exercise which is there is called as foot articulation, which is there to mobilize the individual parts of the foot. Now we can differentiate the parts of the foot in three parts: rear foot, which is the most backward point including heel; the middle foot, which as the name suggests the middle part; and the forefoot. Forefoot is generally the toes and generally those bony prominences which you can feel it over there. So to mobilize this, all you need to do is just sit on a chair and just have your leg like this, okay, like a figure of four. Now with one hand you stabilize your heel, and with other hand you just grab the midfoot. Now the hand with which you're holding your heel is the stabilizing hand, the other hand is the mobilizing hand. So this way you stabilize heel and move the midfoot over the fixed rear foot. So this way you need to do 20 circles clockwise and 20 counterclockwise, and you need to do twice daily on both sides. Now next is the forefoot mobility. So for this, now you stabilize the midfoot and you hold the forefoot and make circles again the similar way. So this way again 20 circles clockwise, 20 counterclockwise, twice daily on both sides. This one is very helpful in people who have stiffness in flat feet, because there are two types of flat feet. One is the flexible flat feet and other one is stiff flat feet. Flexible flat feet is one in which the arches appear in a non-weight bearing position. By non-weight bearing position I mean lying, sitting, etc. And the weight bearing position includes standing, running, jumping, all those. Okay. The other one is a fixed flat feet, in which position doesn't matter. Generally the arches appear lower, and these are generally seen mainly in the neuro cases and people who have chronic ankle injuries. Okay, in them this generally occurs. So this one is going to be very helpful in people who have a fixed flat feet. Now coming on to the second exercise, which is generally to release the tension from the sole of the foot. So for this, either you can use a balloon or a deer bottle. So for this, you just need to keep it this way, and with a firm pressure over that, you just need to massage it along the whole foot, right from the heel till the ball of the foot. So make sure that you're not putting so much pressure also, and you're not keeping feather touch pressure. You need to keep it somewhere middle. So this way, in case you can just do it for a minute, it will help in relieving the tension from the sole of the foot. So do it twice a day on both sides. So that's your second exercise. Now coming on to the third exercise, which is called as toe curls. Now toe curls is going to be very essential exercise because it's the most simplest of them. So all you need to do is keep the feet parallel to each other and just curl your toes and relax. Main intent is just curling and letting go. In the starting, some people might find that their toes are not in coordination. This is because those muscles have forgotten to work together. Don't worry on that, just do it over a few days. You'll feel that now they are moving in sync. Main intent is doing it for a minute and at least 10 times a day. So very simple exercise. This exercise gives dual benefit in the form of mobility of the whole foot and strengthening of the sole of the feet muscles. These are very essential to keep the arches stable. Now generally whenever we wear footwear, it becomes a single platform to move only from the ankle. Now just consider 8-10 hours of wearing shoes over weeks, months, years. Now the foot has forgotten its capability to move from the intermediate joints. Now with this exercise you can regain that. Okay? So that's the third exercise for you. The fourth exercise is called as dorsiflexor strengthening. Now that muscle includes 4 muscles: dorsiflexus muscle group. Okay, so that runs. So that's the shin bone just outwards there. So there you can just feel some fleshy part. That's the dorsiflexus muscle group. And in that, one muscle called as tibialis anterior is very essential to keep the arches stable. Okay, so that goes from here, then over here, and then finally attaches on the inner part. So to train this, all you need to, I'll show the side view. All you need to do is keep the heel this way. So I am showing the strengthening on this particular side. With the other leg heel, you just keep your foot like this. And now you're trying to do this particular movement, as in lifting the foot up towards you, and the other heel is resisting it. Okay, so just try to push down with the opposite heel and you're trying to lift your foot up. So this is the kind of movement I'm expecting. So I'm not expecting that you should put your 100% efforts, because then the movement blockage will be there. You can just put mere like 40 to 60% of your force, that the movement and resistance goes hand in hand. So this way, please resist for 5 seconds and then let it go. Resist for 5 seconds and let it go. So this way you can do 20 repetitions on both sides twice a day. With this exercise you feel some tension going over here, because that's the muscle which you're training. So these are the 4 setting exercises which are there. Now I'll show you the standing exercises. So there are 2 standing exercises. One is the calf stretch, because that muscle gets tensed in fixed flat feet especially. So all you need to do is just stand in a lunge standing position with your both feet facing in line with your head. Now you just try to do the forward leg bending, keeping the other knee straight. So whenever you're going to do this, you'll start feeling some stretch over here. So that's the calf stretch which you are doing. So this way, you can hold for 5 seconds and relax. Do it again for 5 seconds and relax. In this exercise, please make sure that the heel should not lift, because in case it lifts, the tension on the calf will be lost. So it should always be in contact with the ground. So this way you can do 5 times on both sides at least twice a day. Okay, very essential. And please make sure that it is not about the how much intensely you can stretch your calves. It should be just a comfortable stretch. Okay, so these are the so that's the first standing exercise. Now coming on to the next exercise, which is called as tibialis posterior strengthening. So that's the muscle again, which is very essential in providing dynamic stability to the foot arches. So for this, all you need to first understand is about the foot movements. So I'll just come a bit closer so that I can show you the movements. Okay. So there are 4 movements which are possible at the ankle and foot complex. So first is this, taking the foot up. I'll show the side view. Taking the foot up and taking it down. So dorsiflexion, and this is called plantar flexion. Now from the front view, I'll show the inversion and eversion. So inversion is when your great toe rolls to the center of the body. Now eversion is when it goes away from the midline. Now why this is important? Because there are two movements which you need to club to load the tibialis posterior muscle. So that movement is plantar flexion and inversion. I'll just show it. But before that, I'm showing a closer view so that you can visualize my heel and legs. A normal heel raise is with your heel, knee and buttocks parallel throughout. So that's the normal heel raise. Now to train the tibialis posterior muscle, you just need to roll your heel inwards. So just changing the heel position tends to directly put force on the tibialis posterior, and that's how it is going to strengthen and your foot health will improve, foot arch health. And if you need, you can take the balance, because otherwise you will be shuffling weight unequal on both sides. It has to be 50-50% on both sides. Now I will be just slightly moving it away. This is the tibialis posterior muscle, a very essential muscle to provide dynamic stability to the foot arches, dynamically running, jumping, walking, etc. And all these exercises are done better when you do barefoot. So these are the 6 exercises. Please go through them, and if you feel any issues, please feel free to contact us. Thank you.